YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. You all asked for some 2v2, so I got you some 2v2, and I think you're going to like this one. I decided to play as Carthage. My teammate picked Armenia, and we're going up against Macedon and Rome. So this ought to be interesting. I decided to bring some Peltas just for the sake of. Haven't brought them in a while. Give them a shot. These guys have really good armor, and they're not super easy for enemy skirmishers to kill. But I mean, they're going to be up against some tough skirmishers because Macedon and Rome can both bring some very good ones. So my army's pretty straightforward. I say that. It's not actually probably one of my typical ones. So four Peltas, four African pikemen. I want to say I've got, I think I have 2 late Libyan hoplites, 2 mercenary Italian swordsmen, and 2 mercenary Gallic warriors. So I've got cheap swords. Don't make it 3. What do I got? Yeah. No, I was right the first time. And I don't think it's 4 pikemen. Yeah, it is 4 pikemen. Jeez, I can't get it straight. You saw the opening screen, so you're probably going to get it better than me. I've got 1 Carthaginian cav, 3 Scutari cav, and then, yeah, my general's bodyguard. So my Armenian teammate has, looks like a Noble Blood cav, Ozat Knights, Eastern Cataphracts, another Eastern Cataphract, another Noble Blood cav. I think he's got 5 Eastern Archers. And then over here he's got a Persian Hoplite, or 2 of them. Noble Spearmen, and 2 Cartly Axemen. So he's got a lot of cav power, quite a few skirmishers, not the best infantry. These 2 Cartly Axemen can get the job done, but Spearmen, the Noble Spearmen are a pretty tough unit, but I mean, when you look who we're facing against Rome, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. Let's see what Rome's brought. They have, looks like 6 legionnaires there, and a 7th over here. Auxiliary cav and equites. Same thing on that flank. And looks like they've got some levies. Saw a Syrian archer, Balearic slinger, Syrian archer, and Syrian archer. So 3 Syrians, 1 Balearic, so they've spent a lot of money on skirmishing. Yeah. And the Roman looks like he's trying to support the Macedonian. The Macedonian brought a hoplite corps, Macedon can do, but I don't really recommend it because the Macedonian hoplites aren't nearly as good as, say, like late Carthaginian hoplites or thorax hoplites or some of these other ones that are out there. I'm not saying, again, not saying you can't do it. These guys just aren't quite as good as those other ones. They're not bad, but they're not real great. I think you'd be better off just going for thorax swords or something, but then again, who knows? I could be wrong. And then his skirmishers, he's got 2 mercenary Rhodians that you all saw. So, and he's got cavalry hidden as well. It's a bunch of Thessalian cav, if I remember right. So, my opponent was kind of slowly advancing on this Roman flank over here, and my hope was, hey, I'll just pull up and present one big line here. No doubt our 2 enemies were going to try and combine to get around my flank and put some pressure all over me. But my hope was that by me taking this position in the middle of the field, that my Armenian teammate would be facing a smaller number of Romans and hopefully be able to overpower that smaller number of Romans. So let's fast forward and just kind of see what happens. We've got a nice position in the field, I feel like, and this game lagged surprisingly little considering that everything's on like extreme unit sizes. So I was kind of surprised at how well this one came together, and I think the person hosting it was from Malta. So, I don't know if Malta's got like some good internet or we were just really lucky or what. Yeah, he's got his Eastern Archers up into skirmishing range. Actually got a nice rear shot and killed 5 of those Legionnaires with his first volley, which he probably wouldn't have done if their shields had been facing him. But now he's up in range of the Auxiliary Syrian Archers as well, and the Auxiliary Syrian Archers are much heavier units. Their attack is the same, but they're heavier as far as armor goes. Got Roman cav moving this way. 2 auxiliaries and 1 equite. I actually kind of like using equites. Even without Draco, I find them to be pretty useful. They're low cost, you can upgrade them. Fairly decent cav, still got good armor for a cheap cav. There's hardly any other 500 talent units that have as good armor as equites do. So it looks like his light archers are firing at these Balearic slingers. And then some are firing at the Roman cav, which actually scored quite a few kills. 8 of them. And his Eastern Archers are taking some pretty serious heat from these superior skirmishing units. we'll just kind of see what he does. He's got his cav right behind his skirmishers, and he's bringing up more cataphracts here. Now on my side, I've been using my my Libyan Peltas to do something like this, so I drew in a Roman Equite unit. There is skirmisher support here from these mercenary Rhodians, and I have to turn my back to them, which is bad. I actually took some losses to those Rhodians, where otherwise I wouldn't have been taking a ton of losses to the Rhodians. And honestly, the more stuff the Rhodians shoot at me, the better. Or at these units at least, because it means they can't shoot it at my pikemen. That was the whole idea of me bringing Peltas, is the Peltas were going to support my pikemen in case my opponent had brought a lot of Thurio spears or other javelin throwing units. So basically these Peltas were meant as a javelin absorbing and return fire type unit. My mercenary Scutari cap gets in here and starts thumping down these Equites, but it's really close to the enemy lines, and I don't really want to pull out, though I probably should have. I was just trying to finish off this Equite, but now the Rhodian slingers are going to start throwing fire in here, and it does start killing some of my men, and as well as the Equites, but that's a pretty nice trade to trade an Equite for Scutari cav. So, not exactly what I want. Looks like my teammate's starting to do some flanking. It's close to the red line. The Roman's going to have a hard time protecting, and indeed it looks like the Roman's going to fall back. So it looks like the Armenians are going to be able to push through, and the Roman's going to try and deny his flank by doing this business here. So I get the attention of some enemy hoplites, and the Equite cav actually follows me back into my pikes, and his hoplites are now moving in towards my pikes as well, and I'm like, hey, you can attack the front of my pikes all you want. With his Rhodian slingers, there was definitely no reason to attack, but for whatever reason, my opponent sends these hoplites in on an attack, and that's going to go great for my pikemen. And I'm going to move in some mercenary Italian swordsmen, and some mercenary Gallic warriors, and kind of hold up his hoplites. My guys should do okay in this fight. They won't do great, but they'll do okay. Let's see if he's dropping his men into hoplite wall. He is not. And then I see an opportunity to try and get a quick rear charge here, but this was actually foolish because there was the Salian cav here. And my guys really don't get a charge at all, and just end up getting killed. So I end up wasting a Carthaginian cav right there. That was just pure stupid on my part. And the Salian cav came in and charged when I wasn't paying attention. And so I was planning on interrupting his charge. I have a mercenary Scutari. Can't bloody see anything over here. Right here. I had this late Libyan hoplites out here that must have taken a pretty hard charge and then gotten engaged by these hoplites. I was going to use this to interfere with his cav charge and then get my Scutari cav into his Thessalians, at which point they probably would have won, but because I botched all this, I've now got a big problem because all these units are going to eventually start rolling up my flank over here, and plus the Romans sending a legionnaire already around. My swordsmen are actually doing pretty darn well, all things considered, in this fight. We're holding back the hoplites, and some of them are not doing very well at all. And then my opponent ended up with more Thessalians on my pikes over here, which is definitely welcomed by me, but a mistake by him. And these African pikemen here are already up to 109 kills, like just jabbing down Thessalian cav and hoplites. So very fortunate for me to get this type of mistake from my opponent. Over here looks like the Romans in the woods. Some Equites, and he's about to get surrounded and knocked out by some very, very nice cav. Let's see if my teammate, yes, my teammate gets a clean counter charge with those cataphracts. That's going to be brutal. And the Noble Blood cav, yeah, these guys are about to get trounced. He's going to bring in some levies to throw some javelins, but it's not going to be enough. There's another auxiliary cav, so it looks like my Armenian teammates basically just managed to pull off quite a few Roman forces here, which is good. And then, essentially over here, the more kills I can get, the better. So see here how the Roman player pulls up and just starts throwing javelins. I'm going to actually just go ahead and attack him with my pikes. So I'm going to get an attack order going here in just a second, I think. And I'm just going to fall back with some more of my African pikemen and go reinforce. I'm going to come over here and reinforce against these Macedonian and Roman units that are making their way up my flank. And again, my swordsmen actually still holding out very well over here. Not getting a ton of kills, but holding their ground. I am outflanked by a Roman legion here, though. This is bad. And I'm able to push his legionnaires back here with my pikes. He doesn't really have good skirmisher support at the moment, because he's having to hold off. And I was like sitting here, I was drawing commands from my team, and I was like, here, charge here, here, because I had his guys fixed on my pike, but he never saw it. And he brought his cataphracts back over here, and I was like, darn it. because we could have totally killed both of these Roman legions with a rear charge from those cataphracts, but my teammate's doing just fine so far. He's killing all the Roman cavalry out here. These levies are having very little effect, and these legionnaires are being held up by some Cartly axemen. So he's actually punching through the Roman flank over here. He's doing just fine for the time being. And he's still got a lot of his archers left too. So despite the fact that I didn't get him to do what I wanted him to do, he's still doing quite well for our team. And then these pikemen right here now up to 232 kills, mostly against hoplites. They have just been beasting down hoplites. And then my swordsman still holding out. I'm using my general to try and prolong that fight. And it was right here I didn't notice my general's bodyguard came under fire almost point blank from these mercenary Rhodians. And it ends up killing my general very quickly. Wish I had noticed that so I could have kept him alive, but big mistake on my part. Fortunately, I think my African pikemen have the discipline trait. My mercenary troops, though, do not, and so it's going to be bad for them. You can see that they felt it with their morale. And I'm kind of in a pretty desperate fight here, trying to use my heavy skirmishers to pin down his legions to get my pikemen in, but of course he's just going to keep pulling away from that, and I'm going to try and chase off these auxiliary Syrian archers for a minute because these guys are a nuisance. So another good thing to use these Libyan peltas for, once they've used their javelins, just get them into melee. The enemy general is going to come at me here. I'm going to take this fight. I can bog down his general for a little while. But now I've got a pikeman surrounded. This is bad. And sometimes my pikemen have been pushing really good with this no formation attack, and then other times they've been pushing really poorly. I can't seem to figure out what makes the difference, but pikes are definitely better than they used to be. They're still difficult to use. I suggest you have some pretty heavy skirmishing forces if you're going to use pikemen. You're going to need it, or some shock cavalry to support them. But you can see here how I'm just trying to screw the Romans over from a positional standpoint, but it's easier for them to maneuver in a fight like this than it is for me. And my guys are going to turn back around and kill a few of these Romans too. So pikemen again, maneuvering better, but still have problems. Like here, I actually managed to intercept these guys with my pikemen, but these guys just routed. If my general had been around, they might have stayed around a little longer, but I mean, it's just definitely causing problem for me from a pike standpoint. Now I've got Syrian archers behind me. So I'm starting to lose this fight slowly over here. I've gotten as many kills as I could in the process, and actually haven't done that bad, all things considered. I've killed the better part of the Macedonian army, and I've killed a few of the Roman troops. So not bad, considering that I was kind of getting 2v1 there and made some pretty big mistakes. Now, my teammate here doing really well. He's mopped up all these Roman units out here. The Roman left a contingent force to hold the Armenian, and obviously they were hoping to double team me in the meantime, and they have succeeded, but they've taken a lot of losses here to the Armenian, and they're going to have some trouble because both of his cataphracts are alive and at nearly full strength. He's got at least one Cartly axeman left. Here's a second one as well. So yeah, he's got some serious cav power alive still, and there's a noble blood cav roaming around too, if I remember right. Yeah, right here. So my teammate gets away with several archer units and a decent portion of his melee strength. So he actually ended up doing really well over here in his flank and killing these Roman reinforcements and bringing a bunch of men to the late game. And me seeing that my opponent's going to survive the late game, it's just like, all right, I'm going to just cause as much grief as I can. So again, using my peltist as a nuisance force. And then I'm like, I've got to get these pikemen out of here alive. So I'm going to bring these peltists in just to fix the Roman and then swing out with my pikemen. If I can get my pikemen back over here to join the victorious forces of my Armenian teammate, we should have what it takes to win this fight. And the Roman and the Macedonian kind of know this, and so they're already running to the woods for cover against the remaining missile units. And most of their missile units are probably out of ammo at this point. They did a lot of firing on me. So yep, I'm going to get a unit of pikemen out of here that's only lost one man, and I still have this Libyan peltist unit as well. And this Libyan peltist unit, I'm going to take it and start chasing these Rhodian slingers. They're actually out of ammo. Had I been able to see that, I probably would have just tried to run off over here or something, just to save this unit as well. But I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll go start fighting these Rhodian slingers in melee. I don't know if my guys would win this or not. I think they would. They've got a lot higher armor. But there's a lot more Rhodian slingers. It's hard to say. Rhodian slingers really aren't all that bad in melee. My guys are better. But yeah, their guys aren't that bad. So yeah, anyway, Eastern Archers, check it out. They're gonna shoot these legionnaires to death, legionaries. And then I was in a fight over here with some auxiliary Syrian archers. Yep, those Roman troops routed. And I think it's at this point, and I think I'm gonna pull these guys out and just save them. If I remember right, we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward though, because this does go to late game. No, look, it's my... Wow, these Peltists are still in here, going at it. Only 27 men left. So they have killed quite a few of these Rhodians, up to 90 kills now. Not bad. Down to 25 men on those Peltists. And yeah, the Rhodians are gonna rout, so... I knew I had a Peltist unit late game. This is them. I'm going to pull them back here. And I could see that these Rhodian slingers were out of ammo, but I didn't really have a quick way to tell my opponent, don't fire at him, because he's wasting ammo on these Rhodian slingers. They're just using them to try and draw ammunition out of the archers. So pretty sure I'm going to go ahead and just send these Peltists in to attack these mercenary Rhodian slingers in the back, see if I can get a few more kills. Now up to 121 kills on these Peltists, so very worthwhile actually with this unit for a cost of 440. It does kind of suck though not to have long-range skirmishing, but these guys do make a heavy skirmish unit that's hard for light cavalry to kill. It's going to take a heavy cav unit, and it's going to take them a moment to do it. And then I was telling my teammate at this point, I was like, hey, I'm going to bring my pikes around. I can face the enemy shield bearer, because the enemy shield bearer was my main concern at this point. It's a very tanky unit. And our opponents at this point were like, let's go in the woods and hide. And we're like, hey, we're just going to sit out here and rest our men then. So my teammates' cataphracts are quite exhausted. So I was like, hey, man, let's just rest all of our units. No reason for us to go in the woods and attack these guys. It's going to take your cav charges down. And he's like, yeah, I agree. So basically we just start playing a waiting game. We're going to wait out the patience of our opponents. And eventually they're gonna come out. I was using my markers to try and communicate with my teammate, but also typing to him. And just trying to help keep him informed and try and coordinate our effort. But yeah, I've got this big full pike unit here, and these guys are going to be able to really help out in the late game, because my opponent's got some more flexible units over here, like these Cartly Axemen. And then the cataphracts and these noble blood cav are going to be key here. The cataphracts especially, these guys can deliver some punishing charges in late game. So I had pointed out to my teammate that there was some hoplites hiding over here in the woods, and he sent some troops to respond to it. I'm not sure why they made these guys visible. They should have just kept them hidden. But I had seen them march across from here over, and so I had been drawing circles all over telling my teammate, hey, let's go single these guys out. They've got no support. And so he sends his noble blood cav, does a beautiful charge here, knocks all the hoplites down while they're unbraced, and then he's like, I don't even need my Cartly Axemen. And he's correct. These hoplites are going to die. After having taken a charge like that, there's not going to be enough of them left to affect this fight. So noble blood cav's going to tank them down. And so it was kind of funny, the Roman player at this point was like, here in just a minute, he's like, I don't know, he said for the country or for Rome or something. Anyway, he comes out on a YOLO charge basically, because hiding in the woods really isn't going to help them at this point. And surprisingly, these Eastern archers still have ammo left, some of them. These guys are down to their knives. Those guys have their knives out. And I think those guys just pulled their knives out. So yeah, that was their last volley. So got my pikemen ready to roll, fully rested. The enemy legions get intercepted by an Eastern archer. He's not charging his Cartly Axemen, which is too bad because they would have won that charge. It's still a tough unit, the Cartly Axemen. But he does a good job, gets his noble blood cav into the enemy auxiliary and Syrian archers and legatus. And I'm going to try and go out here and see if I can pin this Roman legionary unit. And then he's going to swing around and protect my flank with these Persian hoplites. The Roman general then tries to come through, and he's going to get behind us. But just a legatus unit with only 25 men left, so it's not terribly concerning. And this gives me a chance to catch the Romans on my pikes. And I'm going to get some kills on that legionary unit as it tries to come past me. So you can see I've got these guys at Sarissa Point now. I do get charged in the flank by the enemy hoplites, and I'm going to bring in my Peltists to help support this fight as well. And then my teammate is also giving me troops to help cut down the number of kills that will happen on the flank of my pikemen. The Romans forced to pull back, he takes about 10 or 15 losses to my pikes there. In the meantime, the Roman is all tied up in this fight, and there's enemy, and then my teammate has his cataphracts roaming. Here comes the shield bearer. This unit is going to be a real pain, and I saw this thing getting lined up right here. It's going to engage, and so I was basically like, I was drawing my opponent a line. I'm like, here, coming with the shield bearers, and sure enough, he's going to. My pikemen actually started to kind of waver. Not sure why. Must have gotten attacked in the rear or something, but they're going to stabilize. And then this, here comes a key charge in the game. These shield bearers are one of the toughest units left, and they get left open to a rear charge from cataphracts, which is going to be devastating. It's going to be a big charge there. So the shield bearers just lost, geez, about 30 men, and they're pinned against my pikes too. So they're pinned between a rock and a pointy place, basically. The rock being the cataphracts, and of course my pikemen providing the skewer tip. Enemy legatus comes into the back of my pikemen. Not a bad plan, but it's still got very few men left, and once it gets in here and gets engaged, it's going to be at risk to die. And I'm going to keep clicking attack orders on my pikemen, which is going to force them to reform and hopefully get in a better position. Last Roman legionary over there gives way. Enemy shield bearers are down 40 men now. Eastern cataphracts got them from behind still, and then here comes a noble blood cav from the other direction. More noble blood cav, and then he's got another Eastern cataphracts, and then my African pikemen are providing the vice, basically. So there's no escape for the enemy infantry at this point, and the cataphracts are keeping them pinned. So you can see my pikemen again. Look, they're getting a very nice push right now. Very nice push. And sometimes pikes do this, and then other times they don't. I always see it happen when the pikes are when they're out of formation attack, but in pike formation. So that's definitely the best way to use them offensively. I find that when using them defensively, so like this unit here was in formation attack the whole time. So it helps them hold their formation and hold enemy units off, where being offensive allows them to be a little more flexible, I think. So Mercenary Gallic Warriors getting 100 kills here. Fantastic job for that unit. Very good job for this pike unit. I had 3 of them that did very well. And okay here. 141 kills on this Libyan Peltas. That was great. My Scutari Cav, not very cost effective. I ended up getting a respectable number of kills, but nothing too great because I was double teamed. My teammate, though, doing a great job with his army here, getting really nice kills on all of his Cav. 291 on that Noble Blood Cav, and then 226 kills on this Cartly Axeman. And to be honest, 115 enemies killed on a Persian hoplite is impressive. Let's take a look at the Macedonian player. The shield bearers getting a lot of kills. Rhodian slingers definitely chalking up a fair number of kills here. These hoplites did well. These ones did well. Some of us Thessalian Cav did okay. God of War, 335 kills on this Legionnaire. 323 here. Wow, a lot of kills on that Syrian archer as well. In the end, though, my teammate doing a great job, tanking up 1,806 kills, and it looks like I did just enough to allow him to win, but it was really key that he brought this cav to late game because it gave us what we needed to finish the job. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that 2v2. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.